Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're not just revisiting a series most of us know pretty well, we're actually going under the hood of the Harry Potter books.
Right. Looking at the writing itself.
Exactly. Trying to understand the magic in the writing. We've got this analysis here, why Harry Potter works, magic in the writing, and, well, our goal is to really pinpoint those core things, those craft elements that made the stories stick around for so long.
And why they still grab readers, maybe even you listening now.
Yeah, why they still have that hold. Okay, let's really dig into this.
Well, one of the first things that jumps out, I think, from the analysis is how Hogwarts is treated. It's way more than just a setting, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It feels alive, like a character in its own right.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the personality just baked into the castle walls. You've got the Great Hall ceiling, mirroring the sky outside.
Such a small detail, but yeah, instantly magical.
Right, and then all the secret passages, always hinting there's more to discover.
And the moving staircases. They have a mind of their own.
And those secret rooms, like the Room of Requirement, popping up exactly when needed. It's almost like the castle is breathing, responding.
That's a really good way to put it. And if you connect that feeling, that dynamic Hogwarts, to the wider world building, you see the same kind of careful detail. Consistency.
Yeah, everywhere.
Like the rules for spells. They're not just random things happening. There's a logic. And the creatures are all classified. They have behaviors, histories.
And the institutions, like the Ministry of Magic or Gringotts or even the Daily Prophet, they feel like, real, functioning, sometimes messy places.
Absolutely. And it's that consistency, those kind of established rules within the fantasy that lets you just sink into it, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Even with all the magic flying around, there's this internal logic. So you're not constantly thinking, oh, come on. The world works by its own rules, understandable rules.
And it's not just the big stuff. The analysis points this out too. It's the smaller, sometimes kind of whimsical details that really sell it. Well, think about chocolate frog cards. Or, getting a howler.
Oh, God, the howler. The absolute public shame of that. It's so perfectly awful.
Isn't it? But yeah, it's those little specific, often funny things. They just inject this feeling of like lived reality.
Yeah, makes it feel tangible.
Yeah.
Real, even with, wizards and spells.
So it makes you wonder, doesn't it, how much, why people still love it comes down to this incredibly detailed world, a place you feel you actually know, down to the, enchanted knickknacks.
I think it's huge, fundamental, and that connection, it only gets deeper when you think about the characters and how we sort of experience their lives.
Right, the analysis mentions this too. You're not just watching Harry, you're kind of growing up with him.
Yeah. From 11 years old, all awkward and discovering this world, through all the trauma, the loss.
To being 17, facing this ultimate evil.
Yeah.
It carries the marks, physical and emotional scars.
And it's not just Harry, is it? That sense of shared growth.
No, not at all. Look at Hermione, her whole journey. Ron finding his confidence, but always loyal.
Neville. His arc is amazing.
Yeah, Neville's quiet climb to being a hero. Ginny finding her own voice, her own strength. Even Draco, really, wrestling with his family's influence.
It's true. Readers can see bits of their own struggles, their own growth mirrored in these characters. They feel relatable.
And then you get to Snape. He's still such a talking point.
Oh, always. The analysis really nails his complexity, especially for, what started as children's literature.
Right. You start off seeing him as just cruel, cold.
Yeah, the mean teacher archetype.
But then Rowling slowly peels back these layers. And you find this deep tragedy, incredible bravery, this buried, complicated loyalty.
It really forces you to reevaluate everything you thought about him.
Exactly. Snape's brilliance is how he messes with our expectations.
Yeah.
He makes you grapple with moral gray areas. It's not just simple good versus evil, which you often get.
It pushes readers, even younger ones, to think a bit deeper about people's motivation.
And even the straightforward villains have nuance, like Umbridge.
Ugh, Umbridge. She's terrifying in a completely different way.
Right. It's not about flashy dark magic. It's a believable, chillingly mundane, bureaucratic cruelty. Her absolute conviction that she's right.
That's what makes her so scary. We recognize that kind of petty tyranny.
Whereas Voldemort,
Yeah.
he's something else entirely. More archetypal, maybe.
Yeah, he's more than just a bad wizard. He's like the embodiment of fear itself. Fear of death, lust for power, what happens when you try to cheat mortality.
It's a much bigger, more primal kind of evil.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit. Let's talk about how the stories are actually put together, the structure The analysis brings up the mystery element in each book.
Yes, that's a really strong point. Each book basically has a central puzzle, right?
Great question driving things forward. What is the Sorcerer's Stone? What's in the Chamber of Secrets? Who is the Half-Blood Prince?
Keeps you hooked, keeps you guessing.
And Rowling is so good at planting clues early on.
Oh, definitely. It's not like the answers come out of thin air at the end.
No, you often feel like, I should have seen that because the groundwork was laid chapters or even books before. It's super satisfying when it all clicks.
Which ties into the foreshadowing, the long game she plays.
Yeah, the analysis has great examples like Harry's invisibility cloak in book 1. Seems like just a cool magical item.
And then it becomes vital. Or that mention of a prophecy. Sirius Black's motorbike.
Right. Things introduced almost casually turn out to be massively important down the line.
That weaving together of threads across 7 whole books.
Yeah.
It's just, well, masterful plotting.
You could say she uses a classic 3-act structure for each book, sort of, but like the analysis says, it never feels repetitive or formulaic.
No, because the stakes just keep getting higher.
And the villains get darker, more complex.
And the themes mature right alongside the characters, and frankly, alongside the readers who started young.
Which brings us, perfectly to the themes. Because beyond the spells and the adventure, these books are really about some big things, aren't they?
Absolutely. Really profound, universal stuff. Love, friendship, sacrifice.
Identity. Fighting for what's right, even when it looks hopeless.
And what stands out, again and again, is love being positioned as the most powerful magic of all.
Yeah. Lily's sacrifice protecting Harry is the foundation.
And his bond with Ron and Hermione that's constantly shown as his greatest weapon, his greatest strength. It's a pretty powerful message, you know? Simple, but powerful.
And identity is huge, too, especially for younger readers figuring things out.
Definitely. You watch Neville go from being this, well, frankly, forgetful kid who everyone underestimates.
To leading Dumbledore's army, pulling the sword out of the hat, a true hero.
And Hermione, dealing with prejudice as a muggle-born, just proving everyone wrong and becoming the brightest witch of her age.
These are stories about finding who you are, finding your strength. Really resonates.
And we can't ignore death and loss. It's there from page 1 with Harry's parents.
Yeah, it's a constant presence. But the analysis points out, and I think this is right, it's handled in a way that builds resilience, not despair.
Characters grieve, they struggle with loss, but they learn to live with it. They keep fighting. It doesn't crush them.
Okay, so we've talked world, characters, plot, themes. What about the writing style itself? How Rowling actually puts the words on the page?
Well, the analysis calls it deceptively simple, and I think that's spot on.
Meaning?
Meaning it's clear, it's easy to read, often quite funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor, especially early on.
But underneath that surface, there are layers, depth. It works for kids, but adults find plenty there too.
And she's clever with things like names. The analysis mentions a few.
Oh yeah, like Remus Lupin. Remus, from the Roman myth with the wolves. Lupin, from lupine, meaning wolf-like. It's right there.
Hints at his condition. Or Sirius Black. Sirius, the dog star. And he turns into a dog.
It's not just random naming. There's often a little wink, a bit of meaning tucked in there.
And think about the tone, how it shifts across the series.
That's handled so well. It doesn't feel jarring.
No, it feels earned. You go from the kind of wide-eyed wonder and whimsy of Sorcerer's Stone
to the really dark, tense, almost wartime vibe in Deathly Hallows.
And it feels like a natural progression because the characters have grown up, the stakes are life and death.
So, wrapping it all up.
Yeah.
Why does the series stick around? Why are we still talking about it so much? What's the sort of core reason?
I think the analysis is right. It's more than just a cool story about wizards.
Yeah, it taps into something deeper.
Those fundamental things about growing up, figuring out who you are, dealing with love, fear.
Choosing connection over isolation.
And that core message, maybe, that even people who feel small or ordinary can actually change the world, make a real difference.
Whether you read them as a kid, growing up right alongside Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
Or maybe you're just discovering them now as an adult. There's something timeless in those themes and how skillfully they're woven into the story.
Yeah, the craft holds up.
So as you think about this deep dive we just did, maybe consider this. How do all those specific bits we talked about the world, the characters, the plotting, the themes, the actual writing style, how do they all work together to create that really strong emotional connection, the one that you, the reader, might still feel for these books, these people?
Definitely something worth thinking about, isn't it? Why this story has lasted.
Expecto